Neo, Greg, John, hey Phil, Coda. It's shaky cam. Good thing I don't have to touch that too often. Alrighty. Hey Tom. Yep, apparently when you get orders for goods, you have to make the goods and send people the goods. I'm not overly used to that kind of behavior because, as you know, mostly I sell software, and with software you put all the investment in up front and then you sit back and you laugh your way to the bank. But this, I've got to actually work, and it sucks. It sucks. Oh well, that's the way it goes. It's just the way it is. Well, that should probably be enough paste. It smells funky. Because I haven't put a spacer in the middle there, it kind of sometimes has a little bit of trouble filling in the LEDs section. I think I need a bit more paste. Coda, it's always fun when you've got stashed jobs somewhere where you find that job and you feel like Gandalf in the mines, and you're like, I have no memory of this. And usually it's the one that you haven't put a ticket number on or anything. Some wildly obscure thing. And then you spend the next hour going through your emails and everything, just trying to find out where the hell that job came from. What's worse is a random component on your bench. You can't for the life of you remember why it's there or what it might be from. That's particularly bad if it's something like an iPhone EEPROM. And you're like, uh-oh, whose data is this going to be for? It's not too bad if I... hey Siri. It's not too bad if I mess around with the LEDs, like I said, because it's a pretty robust area. I've got to make sure I just only do really one pass over the chip and component areas. The nice thing is this paste is good usually for about 12 hours, 24 hours even, so I can afford to pre-do these, and if I don't get them all done tonight, that's fine. I'll just tackle it in the morning or whatever. Highly unlikely, but Alright. Hey Miles. Oh, there's a person I haven't seen for a little bit. Kind of down to my last bit of paste here on the spudger, but I don't want to reload it with more paste because this is the last board I'm doing. Yeah, I think I'm good. And at this point the stencil really needs to be cleaned anyway on both sides. Alright. And that excess paste is just going to get wasted, but in the grand scheme of things it's not too bad. I'm sure that tastes really good, that stuff. Oh yeah. Intrusive thoughts. Taste it. Okay. Okie dokie. The next step. And immediately I'm wondering, where the hell's my little guide box? Here we go. And I'm also wondering, do I have enough? I've got 4. I need another 2. Oh lordy, I'm pretty sure I do have more of those. Okay, that's my sacrificial. 2, 3. I just realised I got another 3 and another. I've probably got another one lying around somewhere too. Okay. May as well come out. And the body's hurting a little bit today because I was working on the cat house, putting up the wall sheeting, and in my case the wall sheeting is 12mm or half-inch structural plywood rather. So it's not too heavy, but it is a little bit awkward, and I had to cut it down, so the old circular saw got to work out. Have you tried mechanic paste from Ali? I'm going to actually I used to in the past, many years ago. Yeah, I'll see how it goes, but I'm getting it in tubes. Yeah, getting it in the tubs, it just seems to... The tubs always seem to dry out prematurely. it's just too much exposed surface area, I guess. Right, I need some double-sided tape. Double-sided tape makes this process a little bit easier. I should actually, since I've got a 3D printer, thank you very much, Teresa, I should print a component dispenser for my LEDs. This 3M tape has been with me, well, a very long time. It's been with me since I was doing iPhone 3GS units. Yeah, and at that time the 4 hadn't even come out. So however old the 3GS is how old this tape is. Which is probably why it's not sticking to the silicon. Come on, man. Tessa did it the other night. Why can't you do it tonight? It's like, ain't Tessa, man. Stop judging me. Ah. Damn it. Looks like it'll have to be Tessa tape. Hey, Scratcher. Yeah, Phil, I've got the Chip Quick stuff. I don't normally actually get the Chip Quick brand, but I did recently simply because I needed some tubs of stuff. What is this one? Yeah, so that's what I end up getting, and yeah, it's just turned into crumble mess. It makes a fine lead crumble dessert, and that's about it now. Well, deja vu, hitting on all cylinders right now. My wife's gonna show up any second and say, "There's a cat in the yard." Stephen, it's a terrible way of describing it. It's about as fast as I'm going to be as a human pick and place machine. What is that? 1 part a second if I'm lucky, with miserable accuracy. John, it's more a case of foreign cats getting in, not our cats. It's when the foreign cats step in, that's when the trouble starts. And then it really is a 2-person job, in all honesty. But hopefully we've sort of about come to the end of those kind of days, because like I said, we've invested quite a bit of money into the fencing, so hopefully that now keeps such foreign cats out. I don't even know why I bother putting caps on these 708s, because quite honestly those 708s, they run just fine with no support components. It's one of the big draw cards of having these monstrously inefficient 708s, is that they will just keep trucking along no matter what you throw at them, within within their design specification, of course, but whereas when you get LDOs and things like that, you got to really be careful that you get have their support capacitors around them to tell them that they're doing okay. You're doing great, buddy. You're regulating just fine. Just don't take any more lithium. Hey, Kaden. Serge. Hey, Harold. Harold, how do you go with doing this sort of repetitive pick and place work? Does it drive you up the wall too much? Harold, of course, produces quite a number of very useful MacBook tools and other tools. And as far as I know, he also does all this sort of manual work. Find it relaxing. Oh, jeez. So that's the trouble. I just don't have any relaxed time. For me, it's everything needs every second of my time. Well, there's always something that needs a second of my time, and so I'm sort of having to do priority. Yeah, it's kind of like priority scheduling. So I'm basically battling the what can I do with my time that yields the best profit or return on investment, so to speak. And I don't mean just always financially. Sorry if I'm missing things in the chat. I mean, obviously I'm trying to focus on getting these done. I do, but the trouble is there's what you know you need and there's what you can have, and unfortunately for me what I can just isn't yet doable. Well, I should say what I can is not yet what I need. I'd be happy, right? to be honest, I'd be happy to get an actual night of sleep where I don't spend till 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning just flipping over and over in bed and getting up a billion times, try and walk off a sciatic nerve and things like that. And it's all just tied up with the whole anxiety, want to get things done. Because you just actually make it worse for yourself. So it's one of those vicious circle situations. Stephen W, that's pretty much it, yeah. Either that or you're wealthy enough, you've done business right, and you managed to get things done right, and now you can enjoy the rewards. Not enough melatonin. Up in this country, yeah, melatonin's a naughty word. It's a paranoid word. Every year we go in and get checked for things like that. Thanks, Pedro. By the way, I just see Pedro in here. So that's how slow I am. Mr. Scam You was in here and I didn't even know. We've also got a bunch of USB-C meters to get done, so this is sort of just the start. Yeah, if you make it a routine, I suppose it's not too bad. Like, say if I produced 3 of each unit every day, then that would probably cover me realistically. Feel like I'm going around in circles. They test as Apple. Well, you know, I mean, an angled light source can be useful in its own right as well. I think that's it. It's sort of... they all have their purposes. Some are just worse than others. I think if you have a good quality emitter, LED emitter, then it doesn't really matter how you use it. Like some things you do have to illuminate at an angle, like you can't do the direct overhead lighting. Oops. In some ways it can look nicer. You have the sort of like, you get a real strong 3D effect from the shadows. Uh-oh. Out of 100 nanofarad jelly bean caps. Realistically, at 100 nanofarads, I could be using the 35 volt ones to no ill effect with the 5 volt circuitry. I mean, it's all just jelly bean stuff. You're just throwing it down there, and it's not really critical. Could assemble and ship your boards from here. Yeah, for now I'll be keeping it all here. I'm going to look at, later on I'll look at things like JLC or PCBWay. Biggest problem I have is just the trust, particularly with the LED emitters. It's all too easy for them to swap them. Not maliciously, but just simply, oh well, we couldn't get the one you asked for. We decided this one was a equal match. It's got the same 5,000 kelvins and blah blah blah, and you find that it looks terrible, but you can't get your money back from them. It's too late. And it doesn't happen until you make your big order. So like you'll order 50 or 100 units first just to like test the waters, and everything will go really well. And then you go, alright, okay, we'll do that one more time, and it goes really well, and you go, that's good. I'm now going to commit, I'll take 1,000 units, and that's when they just sort of drop it on you. So you get 1,000 units, and all of a sudden the color doesn't look right. Hello? What's this then? Why are you stuck? I'm being paranoid, but the trouble is, when you're a small operator, like 1,000 units isn't a lot for something like this. When you're a small operator, you just don't have any sort of clout to get things rectified. You just got to end up eating that loss. And it's the sort of thing that will sink you. For other things like maybe the USB-C meter, I might be able to get away with it. Although I do worry they might try and substitute the INA chip. I mean, I can't imagine why they would. It's just unfortunate that prior experiences combined with paranoia can make you miss out on potentially good opportunities. I guess it's always a risk game. Hey, B-Blood. Yeah, really, I mean, you write that in the contract, but the contract in many cases is worth the paper it's written on. And I don't mean that just because it's in, being done in China or whatever. I mean that with almost everything. The contract's only worth something if you can drag them into court for it. And that's going to cost you more than what you're going to lose if you just simply move on. And that's fundamentally how it works. If you start again getting to the point where you're dealing with $1 million situation, you might by then just be worth taking it to court. can ask for a test jig. Oh wow, how did I forget the tiny 212? For now, I will just continue to build these manually and complain about it bitterly. Which of course is just, it's drama for you guys. You guys love that stuff. It's the only reason why you're on social media in the first place. Oh yeah, gotta get my daily drama. Oh. There we go. Go see what Lewis Rossman's ranting about today. Hey horse. A woodpecker told me I wasn't paranoid in Morse code. If you're paranoid and correct, does that mean you're still paranoid? Neo AI, no, it's correct. It's just that over here in Australia, or at least Northern Australia, um, we really have to try hard to avoid the sun at all costs. And so, getting... Oh, you know what? I'm the one that's wrong here. I think. Yeah, no. I'm the one that's wrong. This is what happens when I do things while I'm doing things. Anyway, melanoma cancer here in Australia is very bad and far too prevalent, far too easy to get. Okay, what is going on with this jig? Why have I... It's like snaring on a little point there somewhere. You don't even have to get sunburnt. It's just... The sun is astoundingly brutal here. Like people in Europe, you hide in the winter, or in America, you hide in the winter, you know, you bunker down, you keep out of the weather, and then during spring you emerge. For us, it's the opposite. We hide in the summer, and then in autumn we emerge because, like, finally I can actually go out past 9 o'clock in the morning without getting cremated. Have you ever seen the movie Riddick? Well, the planet Crematoria is a bit like what it's like up here. It doesn't help also up here we are literally up, as in I think we're about another 1500 feet in altitude. Not that it's as bad as say in when I was living in Johannesburg, but at least that was a generally cooler climate. But yeah, Johannesburg's like 5,000 feet above ground level, sea level rather, ASL. Let's see, so I need to get some navigation switches and some DC jacks. Ooh, lucky, got some navigation switches. Well, there's a lot of paranoia when you're moving pasted and populated boards around the room. You're always waiting for that moment where you snag your hand or something like that on some random object in the room and all your hard work just gets smeared. Ah, no, that's the sacrificial one. Okay, we've got to cut ourselves another strip. Also need to buy another several thousand of these. Where'd my sucker go? Oh. I'm pretty sure there is a 3D printable SM component dispenser. Now the question is it going to be more useful, more practical to use than wasting a piece of tape each session? That's what you got to weigh up. It's like it's all good and fun to design things that can do things, but if you're actually going to use it, does it actually save you time and improve things? Well, really, I mean, that's exactly my point. It's not big stuff, and that's why I'm basically thinking, well, it's just not it's that there's a gap, there's a valley between what they consider to be worth their time versus what's risk worthy for me. And because of that gap is why I'm probably going to be end up just doing this for quite a bit more. Either I'll hire some slaves. With lithium batteries these days, not using so much cobalt, maybe there will be some available. Ooh, wait for someone to bite on that one. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Greg, there's been plenty of times where I've bought a tool because I thought this is going to revolutionize my workshop or something. And then you get it and you find, you know what, it's just not really doing it for me. It just, maybe it will for somebody else, but for me, it's not. There's a really nice probe set that I bought, a magnetic probe set. There's nothing wrong with it. It does its job properly, all that sort of thing, but it just didn't change things for me. And more often than not, it's just more of a drama to bring it out and set it up. Kind of like a DSO. It's like people, oh, you need a scope, it'll make your life much better and easier to fix things. It's like, for some people maybe, but for me, no. Certainly, yeah, buying high quality is an important thing I find. Like, we just had a new car parts store open up in town. Super cheap auto. Australians will know who they are. But I went through there just looking around, see if anything caught my eye. Also just see whether what the store was like. And there was very little in there that I would be inclined to buy. Very few brands that I was thinking, oh yeah, I could trust that. Most of it was just stuff that it's used once and dispose of. Where you can get away with that sort of thing though is if you buy something and use it for the purpose it's not intended to, and that purpose that you're using it for has a very low impact on that tool. And so the tool becomes a very robust tool within the context of what you're using it for. But under its normal use, it would be dead. Oh yeah, the CNC machine. Yeah, the CNC machine. At least I use the 3D printer, but the CNC machine is... part of the problem there is that I don't have the air filtering or the noise dampening yet. I don't have the setup for it. Whereas the 3D printer, at least I was able to, it's not a big issue to set it up. Like I can just put it in my room, let it do its thing. Sure, it can be a little bit sometimes it can be a little bit noisy if it's doing its whatever, but overall it's insignificant. Yeah, precisely, Miles. Super cheap. Yeah, precisely, Harold, with the magnetic things. I mean, I think they're a great device, and I bought a few of them, but in the end I just never ended up... they didn't fit my work profile, and that's fine. Yeah, to give you an idea, so this is the state of what they are. They're a great tool, but they just didn't match what I do in my workshop. Yeah, Matt's comp, that's the other thing. Buy once, cry once, or the pain of the expense is long forgotten. I can't remember the rest of it. The CNC machine is in better condition than what those magnetic probes are right now, but it does need a proper workshop to be in. Oh, I just realised I need to get my transfer plate. Tesla built my own CNC laser engraver out of old MakerBot. Never used it yet. That happens. I invested a lot in making a low ohms meter, so it would measure down to like 0.1 micro ohms and things like that. I think I must have spent a few thousand on prototypes, getting things working right. And in the end, I just never used it. I used it a couple of times, but nothing for the amount of expense. I should have just bought a bench meter that had 4-wire sense in it. Yeah, China builds to a price point. So if you give them a low price point, they're going to build to that. That makes sense. You know, they're just doing what you're asking them. Oh, you got an infrared camera. Oh, that's good, Miles. The one that Jim bought me works well enough for me. You know, particularly that I managed to write the software for it. But I am sort of tempted, genuinely, to build my own now using one of the lepton cores or whatever I can get my hands on. It's a bit tricky with export restrictions. The only thing is, I'm pretty sure I will miss the visual camera aspect. I guess we'll see. The main reason I want to build my own is because, as good as the FLIR 1 Pro is overall, the software, my software I should say, is still somewhat intermittent, and it gets frustrating. Wow. Oops, I actually may have switched that off a little early. There you go, that's good. What is going on here? Obviously I should be doing this all in the oven, but putting it in the oven means I have to vacate the room for several minutes. Because my fume extractor is not near... Hey! Oh, that's the LED that I melted the other night. No, it's not. It's another one entirely. Great. Got random chip LEDs floating around the place now. Oh, hey Catherine, with well, 8-year-old Acer laptop. Ouch. Yeah. I mean, you want to try and help people as much as you can, but at some point, yeah, you just got to shut those down. I had someone in the when I was doing a postal delivery the other day, come up to me and ask if they could upgrade their, I think it was about a 6-year-old, 7-year-old machine so that it would work for their school kids' projects and things like that. And I said, look, it's just, you're going to waste more money trying to upgrade that thing, and it's going to be less consistently reliable than just cutting your losses and going new. Stephen W's channeling some Paul Newman, I think. I can't remember the singer's name. What was it? Love is in the air. Yeah, something like that. Hey, B-Blit 1200. Didn't see you there, sorry. Yeah, B-Blood, that's why we call it the gym cam, because Bird Jim bought it for me. He also bought quite a few other things. Um, the face camera that I used to have is also Jim's. It's a Panasonic 4K unit. I had to take it out of service though because it was starting to have some focal hunt issues, and I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure whether it's because it was always facing down at the time. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's still a good unit, but I've never got it back around to reactivating the face cam. I figured no one really cares anyway. But at least it's a backup unit should this one at the moment fail. That one there is a Sony AX33, I think. I forget which one it is. John Paul Young. Thank you very much, Stephen W. Yes, that's it. I remember when that came out. Strictly ballroom dancing. Hey, Pro Engineer. Because second gen Intel desktops on a daily basis. Wow. Okay. I mean, it's great if you're an enthusiast and you want to like revitalize them or bring them up to working condition again. But if you're legitimately trying to get stuff done, yeah, it's a waste of money. Especially that you can buy refurb 7th gen or 6th gen units for $200. I don't buy new Windows little machine. I buy small form factor units for I think what did I get? I got an i5-8400 with 256 gig SSD and 16 gigs RAM or something for like 250 Australian dollars, and it's a nice small form factor Lenovo. You just can't justify fixing stuff when you can get refurbs like that. So what is this paste? It's this Chem Tools one, right? Cool. No, I should see if I can get some more of this as well. It survived the leave it on my bench for a year test quite alright, and it's still working alright. I wonder if they've got it in 305. I do want to do 305 again. Okay, that's 4 done. We've got 2 to go. Pro, yours will probably one that I have to build probably tomorrow. Uh, I was saying to Elita, my wife, I said, nice thing about software is that you put the investment up front in terms of your time to do the software, but then after that, you recoup it without any further time required from you in terms of you don't have to do anything. You sell the license and that's basically it. But yeah, with selling hardware like this, actually got to get down and dirty and do some work. But thank you very much for that, Pro. I do appreciate it. By the way, I need to clarify the instructions on the USB meters about how the cables will only work in one orientation, like flipped up or down. It's a weird quirk. It technically, it the lines are connected, the CC lines, but for some reason, for whatever reason it is, they want to be orientated together. I don't know why, but it just is. That's not a problem that the plug-in meters suffer, because they don't, they're not a, what do you call it? They're not a intermediate object between the cable, whereas my USB-C meter is. Anyway, it's just a case of once you're aware of it, it's not a problem. But I can guarantee you, 90% of people, when they first plug in their USB-C meter, it won't register the cable. Hey user, I checked with a bunch of people, Arilla, and they say that there's nothing actually wrong with the circuit, it's just a quirk of the standard. So, go figure. So apparently it's not a problem I actually can solve. Without at least bringing in a PD controller or something like that. Well, you see, at the moment the CC pins go straight through, so it's it's a direct pairing, and I think that's what causes the issue. So unless you have an active element going on in there, then you're never going to be able to do it passively, seems to be the consensus. How do I package and post the USB-C meter? It gets shipped like this, and it gets wrapped up in space filler in a box that's about, I don't know, 150 by 130 by 90. So it gets to sit in a very big box relative to what its size is, so it definitely won't get injured. Any particular brand power supply? I don't really have any specific. I use XP Power for mine, but really I think it's not really going to matter much, as long as it's not a horribly dirty DC supply. There we go. A bunch of lights served up. It's not super critical, believe me. I've used everything from a wall wart, like directly in the wall, to yeah. So what is this? Yeah, these are the ones that I personally use for myself. So XP power, but I can't get these anymore, which is unfortunate. Yeah, well. But basically, if you spend about 15 to 17 US dollars, you should be able to get yourself a perfectly good 24 volt supply. And yeah, 2.1 center. At least that's what it should be. That's a very hot top. Let's see. Oh, guess who hasn't printed enough freaking rings? Yeah, well, post office doesn't open until flippin' Tuesday anyway, so nobody's getting anything until Tuesday. Yeah, another damned long weekend. What's the life expectancy of the LEDs at full blast? Should be a very long time. I actually run them slightly under their max. Look at this wastage. And most of the time when doing microscope work, I barely use more than about 70 or 80% brightness. It's just too bright otherwise. I think the problem is with the public holidays is I don't get to actually have a real day off, in the sense that, you know, I've still got to keep working. And if anything, days off tend to be a problem because it disrupts the courier delivery rate. You know, it interferes with normal operations. Starting to get so many of these standoffs and screws. It's like, what do you do with them all? They're for NVMe drives. We have a glorious country music festival this weekend here. And I can hear them from here. I don't know what they're singing, but it's the usual sort of stuff. Went on down to the waterhole, but my truck broke down, so I had to go see Susie from around town. And that's when she said, "No way, get stuffed, mister, ain't lending you my spanner." And then that's when they cut the power. Bought a Makita Hoover, the battery was double the price of the Hoover. Yeah. So I guess it is entertaining, yeah. And to be honest, it is pretty nice to see all the people in town enjoying themselves. Yeah, a lot of money comes into town because of it. It's a big festival for us. Not quite up to Tamworth sort of scale for country, or Nashville or anything like that. But you know, it's our own slice, I suppose. It probably brings in a solid million, I'd say, easily. There certainly are some things I would like to see just die off, like the annual show is one that I would like to see change. Mostly because for some reason when the show comes to town, it likes to also bring a whole lot of disease. I guess I might be prejudiced there. Could be just coincidental. I don't know. A lot of people just seem to get sick after the show, and it's not just because of the bad food or anything. Where's my little whatchamacallits? The brass thingies. No, not the brass balls. The thingies, you know. The thingies that you put the thingy in. Where are they? Somebody cleaned the workshop up and now he can't find his stuff. Yeehaw. He's lost. He ain't gonna find his brass nuts no more. Ooh, Mars. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, no. Thank God I didn't get subjected to that. Well, I should say thank my parents. It's not a million people, that's for sure. What do you think? This is Fire Festival? It ain't Fire Festival. God, I love watching that show. I mean, when I say show, I mean the documentary sort of thing. It just makes me warm and happy inside for some reason. Maybe I'm a sociopath or something, I don't know. Really, Paul? What have you done with them? Time to start cleaning up. When you clean up, you find things. Not always what you want, but you do find things. Yeah, Catherine, they are NVMe heatsinks. I was just fortunate they were basically a direct match for the size that I am using. I like it when you can find things like that. I actually kind of enjoy that challenge where you have to see what you can utilize in that's been manufactured in a pre-existing situation for your project. And the nice thing is that when it's something like this, and this, NVMe, whatever, it's also dirt cheap. Whereas if you had to get a heatsink made just for your particular task or whatever, you know that's going to cost a lot of money. A lot more than it should. These are about the highest finned ones that I could find. Oh, they were there. They were where they were meant to be in the first place. I just didn't look deep enough. Okay. Hey there, Raj. Yeah, I did mean $1 million. How do you live there among all the snakes, spiders and sharks? Well, sharks, yeah, not too much of a problem. We've got more crocodiles out here than we have sharks. But, no, in all honesty, it's really not that bad. Yeah, you just learn not to do stupid stuff. Either that or due to people doing stupid stuff, thankfully early enough in their lives, they didn't get to procreate, so therefore the stupidity didn't, replicate. Although these days I'm thinking that the stupidity has been smart enough to find a way to replicate faster than it dies, and that's worrisome to me. Spiders aren't really a problem at all. I would say spiders are more of a problem down in areas like Sydney, the Sydney funnel webs, and which is actually a hell of a lot larger area than Sydney itself. The funnel webs appear over a very large portion of Australia. We get something similar. Redbacks are our more common spider up here to be concerned about, but redbacks are easily prevented. You just keep your house clean for the most part. But other spiders like huntsmans, wolves, even whitetails, things like that, we really don't have a problem. They're all around. They don't bother us. I'll walk out into the kitchen in the middle of the night and there'll be a huntsman or a wolfie running around. It's pretty cool watching them. They don't cause you any trouble. They get out of the way. They're like, oh crap, it's a human, I'm out of here. And to be fair, that's true of the snakes too. I know there's plenty of stories that people will, tell you until they're nearly, on their deathbed that they were being chased by a snake. But in the end of the day, it's almost always simply because they didn't realize they were in the pathway of where the snake wanted to go to escape from the human in terms of chasing him. Will a snake actually rear up and attack you? Only if you corner it to the point where it feels like it's like, well, that's it, I'm going to die here by this big fat human, so I may as well make my stand. That, of course, it may be an accident, and that is often what happens. And people don't realize that they're in the pathway of where the snake wants to go or whatever, and it's an unfortunate thing. But I mean, how many times have you encountered a giant 50 times taller than you or whatever, and you decided, I'm going to mess this sucker up? Not unless your name is Jack and you live on a beanstalk. That doesn't really play in with popular culture, but it's just the reality of it. I can go outside, dig around, and I'll probably find a snake or two. But they're really not any drama. Looks like I'm going to have to print out another 10 of these or so. Yay, 3D printer getting used. That's what you want. I do need to find a better screw for these mounting offsets. These ones here, these M2x6s, they're machine thread, they're JIS heads, and they're okay, but I gotta admit they're a little bit annoying to install. I would prefer a self-tapper, but the trouble is most of the self-tappers that I can find are too coarse, and so they just more rip their way a little too aggressively through the PET. I guess it's just a case of I keep looking until I find the perfect screw. But yeah, these ones, they're frustrating to install. And they're not even sufficiently magnetic, which is very annoying. I don't know whether it's because they're JI, I don't think it is, but yeah. It just happens to be that I must have picked up the ones that were not really that magnetic. FDM, what? This PETG, yeah. Interesting, Miles. Any idea why spiders perturb you more? Is it because they can be somewhat invisible and just crawl into your ear or something like that? Speaking of which, yeah, things crawling into their ears, moths, are something I'm more scared of than most other creatures. moths or roaches, small roaches. Those little bastards, they'll just be flying around, they'll do something dumb, and before you know it, they're at the outside of your ear well, and then they go, oh, I'm scared, I'm gonna go where it's safe, and they crawl into your ear, and then they start scratching at your eardrum, and it is agony, and there is nothing you can do, but all you want to do is push your finger right through the base of your ear into your skull to try and stop that sucker scratching away at your eardrum. It sends you mad. That's all I can say. It sends you mad. Now, I was lucky. I knew someone who had already experienced this, and I knew that should it ever happen to me, just pour oil, olive oil or canola oil, whatever. Just pour oil into the ear. Don't use water, use oil. And that will subdue the creature, kill the creature. And yeah, it'll be an agonizing couple of minutes at the worst. Right, this 3D print is no good. Sometimes it happens, I guess. Because the spider can be very tiny. Yeah, it's true. I don't know why that one didn't take. It doesn't look like it ruptured out or anything, so maybe... This is where I prefer the self-tappers, you know, they do a much better job of cutting their path. Wonder what happened there. What I might try to do, try put it in again, start with that one. Maybe heat it up so that it reforms. This is not really the best screwdriver to be using for these. I really need something a bit thicker. But unfortunately, this is my next thicker one, and actually that's not too bad. I'll give it a shot. And frustration building. Yeah, I think it doesn't quite have... No, it doesn't quite have the bite that I need. Like I said, that's because these are JIS type square heads. No, something definitely went knap then. Yeah, no. Crap, damn it. Oh yeah, shoot it clear off. Damn it. That's a 1 hour print just thrown away. I think what I'm going to have to do is start printing these adapters in like lots of 4. But I always worry that when you start printing in lots of 4 or anything more than 3, you can end up losing so much time if something happens with the print. You know, it skips a beat and then all of a sudden all of them are dead. Yeah, PETG. Yeah, I'm good enough with the PETG. I'm happier enough with the PETG. That one only broke because I think it was a defect in the print somehow. Because all the others are good. I've tried using PLA, and PLA does print nicer. You get a better result. But I found after about 6 or 7 months, it sometimes will crack around the brass threaded inserts. So I switched to PETG or PET. I've been told it's because PLA doesn't really like reheat much. So I thought, fair enough. Yes, I mean that one's fine. So I think the other one was just a bad print. The question is, what did I do with that one? Have I thrown it in the bin already? Oh yeah, there it is over there. Do you have the STL file? Yes, I do. And people will be able to download it, modify it, do whatever they like with it, make their own variants. I also have variants for mounting on the pre-existing Amscope adapter that you have for their light when you don't have a Barlow. So yeah, I've got all those files available. They will get added to the page. I mean, obviously I'm not going to ship these without at least the Barlow adapter, because not everybody's got a 3D printer. I mean, I didn't for a long time, and I probably still wouldn't if it wasn't for having been sent one. Thank you, Teresa. But yeah, it's just too much hard work getting those screws in, so I really do need to find a better 2x6. So I can't really build up the others. Okay, we'll install the heat sinks on these. I don't install the heatsink until I've done the the ring adapter. The height of the heatsink makes it very difficult otherwise. I could use polycarbonate, but the trouble is it's harder to print. I don't think my printer can handle it. So PET is good enough, and if people want to do better, they can choose to. You may notice that the aluminium board actually has two 3mm holes in there. So I've done that originally because I thought I was going to have to bolt the heat sinks in or something like that. Turns out I didn't need to, but I've left the holes in there anyway. Optimization holes. Oh well. Alright, time to flash them. You should order this part, possibly in aluminium. What are you talking about? Which part? Where's my programmer? I actually don't want the ring adapter in something that can conduct too much heat, because I don't want the heat overly transferring into the head of the microscope. I mean, it's probably not going to be that bad, but I would imagine it's going to be stupidly expensive to get something like that made in aluminium. I'll stick with the plastic for now. Wait, what? It'd do a lot more than just double the cost, I can tell you that. Flashed. I'll do all of them. The file for this is about 710 bytes, which is actually pretty sizable considering it's just a light controller. I haven't bothered to optimize it. It's a 2K microcontroller. It's got plenty of room. Okay, they're all done. Nice and easy. Okay. Now we test to see if things go bang. Okay. Good. Under normal use, Arilla, these LED lights barely get warm. I mean, when you run it flat out at maximum brightness, yeah, they really do pick up the heat. But I find that at the brightness level that I like for my own microscope, oh great, this one doesn't work. Something burnt then. What did I install backwards? Something just went bang. I'm going to guess I put the controller in backwards somehow. Yeah, I can smell it. John, yep, well, stress testing means leaving it on all day in my office. Yep. Yeah, good thing I got a can of Magic Smoke handy. Damn it, didn't leave it on long enough. That's good. Okay. Alright. So, who wants to guess what went bang? Doesn't really matter, we're going to find out. Well, it wasn't the controller. Oh, you know what I didn't do? God, I'm an idiot. I did not go and check that these were orientated correctly, or that I didn't do anything. And it's kind of weird that it's died in that case. The LED drop out? I mean, yeah, there's some bubbling of the LEDs, but nothing too bad. As in, balling out. I definitely smelled something. And it wasn't my shorts. They're all in the right orientation. And it programmed okay. So is there something in the there? What the hell? R3. R3 is a 0 ohm resistor. It's hardly going to be a problem there. I better check the okay, like, so that one pin there, I really should clean that up. It'll be connected underneath, but I'm not going to let it walk out without that. That kind of got a bit disorientated, but it's not the worst. So this is my normal brightness, by the way, so but I can go up to that, and I find that just a little bit too much. It'll give me a headache. So about there is where I like it. Something definitely smelled off. It is possible one of the LEDs is defective. Oh, look at that. That's actually double bridged there. Yeah. This here is a good example of why it's generally probably not the best idea to walk and talk concurrently. Okay, we'll just rework that, clean that up. Fortunately, you can actually trunk the connections on this chip, but it is not how that was designed. Okay, this is just some supportive air, 250, 230 in this case actually. Okay, that's all cleaned up. Might do the other side too. Although it is technically connected. No, I'm going to leave that alone. That is technically connected. I can see there's a fillet down there, so I'm not going to stuff around with that. If Apple can get away with that kind of stuff, I'm certainly going to do so. A bridge isn't a great idea, no. But like I said, this particular controller can do a trunking mode, where if you want to drive like 700 milliamps of current through the channels, you can do that. Is there a crack in the circle in the regulator? Don't think so. This isn't the damaged one. Yeah, that's definitely done. Okay, I'm just going to put that into the cooler. You're fine. This is the one that I need to... There's that one leg that looks like it has no solder on it, even though there will be solder underneath. Yeah, you can see it is actually soldered, so I'm not gonna mess with that. Or will I? Yeah, okay, I will. Damn it. Make up your mind, Paul. Again, supportive heat. It's not a lot of heat, it's just to help it. Because this is an aluminium substrate board, so yeah, it will drain a lot of heat out. Just double checking the others. Another bridge. Wow. This is because I wasn't using the microscope to place those units. That's okay. Catch them in the... Catching them now is better than later. As you can see, it's a very quick fix. It is soldered on the underneath, Arella. Because the pads are on the underside, the fillet is just a bonus, but it is actually soldered underneath. Can't show you. There, you can see there. Like, you go have a look at a lot of Apple boards, and if you look at the things like the ISLs, 6295s and such, they look like they're not soldered from the edge, but then you lift them up and they are. You watch, every example I pick up now is going to be say otherwise. I mean, it's nice to have the fillet there as a bit of a bonus. It's kind of like with many of the connectors where they've got 3 points of contact, and so you end up with a piece of crud stuck down in the bottom of them, but they still work because they've got all the other 2 points of contact. Yeah, that's looking pretty now. Pretty. That one's fine. Hallelujah, nice to see I got one. Crystalon, yeah, it's a bit of an issue in general. Also, what you're finding is that every man and his dog is doing board repair work now. So it's kind of, yeah, it's a bit of a gold mine. I'm going to say that something happened to that controller, I don't know what. I'm going to guess maybe there's a bridge of the solder underneath because there is a grounding pad under there. That would be my guess. That is a 7805, so I know I've got that right. Well, actually, I'll do some measurements. Alright. Well, ask for diode mode. Oh no. Thinking a dead cap. That's quite possible. Let's have a look. Input's okay, 609. Yeah, we've got a short here somewhere. Interesting that I was able to flash the chip. Question is, where is the short? So no problem on the up. Very hard short there. Maybe you can use the thermal camera to find it. I haven't, Miles. No, I don't get too many of those. I don't know if the gym cam will actually bring anything up. I'm not sure how, depending on what's shorted, I don't know what we're going to see. You know, it could be that it's just transiting really quickly, and the regulator, mind you, the regulator, that thing can sit at 5 watts all day and not complain. Let's see, Crystalline, I'm in the industry 20 years and only know one other up your level, but work at the local shops help community. Still seems like people don't get it either. Users or some techs. I think also, what's the pricing like? You mentioned about pricing before, because you know, definitely there is that 1/3 mentality situation where if the repair costs more than about 1/3 of the device, then people are just going to not bother, unless it's their data. Data's about the only time that you can squeeze out a bit more. Okay, let's get schematics. Oh, crikey, it's the AVR. Ah, well, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, the question is, what on earth would take the AVR out? The only thing straight off the top of my head is that a full 24 volts is going through and hitting the AVR. That could be though because the LED controller failed or has a bridge under it, and subsequently 24 volts got onto, you know, either the control line or whatever. Yeah, that's interesting. I can see I saw that little dot there that you can see, like there's the big pin 1 dimple, and then there is a little dot within it, and I thought that was just a bit of solder splutter. Interesting though that the caps haven't blown, and they're 10 volt caps. What's going on? What's going on? I'd be very surprised if this is letting 24 straight through. That's very unusual. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll measure the rail and see what we get. Okay, so rail on. You too, Chris. Thanks for dropping in. Okay, we're going to smell the burn. Well, I'm going to smell the burn. You aren't. You don't get that privilege. Okay, we've got no voltage. Okay, it's trying to start it, but it keeps shutting it down. That'll be the 708 protecting itself. So what we have to do is we'll take the AVR off, but I have a horrible feeling that it's actually not going to fix it. As in, it's not going to be the true cause. I have a stronger suspicion that that's at fault, but we'll sacrifice another AVR and see what happens. My worry here is damaging the navigator switch, and if you knew how much these suckers cost from normal suppliers, you'd appreciate that. Alright. Well, the LEDs are meant to get the full 24 volts because they're in chains of 7. So that's not a problem at all. Yeah, I'm doing the dirty way of getting parts off. I don't want to bring hot air into this as much as I can avoid it. I'll just see what it's like without the AVR. See whether we get 24 volts rummaging around on that bus. What's the time? Almost midnight. I mean, I'm happy that we've got the boards built, so 6 of them. And how long have we been running for? Almost 2 hours. So yeah, with chit chat, it's looking like about 20 minutes per board on average for me. Alright. What brand do I use what is it? Tech Spray. It's on my, what do you call it? It's on my tools page. Alright, so we're back up on the resistance, but now let's see what I'll show you in a bit, befuddled. Let's go back to voltage mode. Yeah, the reason why it's doing that is because it's looking for the signal from the AVR to tell it what it should be, but it's picking up just noise. Holy shit. Alright. So yeah, my theory was right. There was something wrong with that. Phew, that stinks. Guess you all got to see that. Oh, good thing the microscope was on that. Let's see. By the way, that's the wick. Tech spray, no clean. Specifically, it's the 1823 model. 1823. This is a 100-foot roll, so it should last me a very long time. But yeah, if you look for Tech Spray 1823 number 4, you should get what you're looking for. Well, that was interesting. Not sure it's worth reworking this board or not. Mostly because I don't know what other damage has occurred. So, you know, I can ship this out and something else can go wrong. So it's almost better for me to just bin this one. We'll see. I'll have a look. This is my MacBook reflow standard temperature, 450 and 60 odd air, and it's going nowhere on this. Wow. Let's go up. Well, we lost the foot anyway, so yeah. Doesn't seem to be any signs of actual solder bridging. I mean, it may have reflowed, but it doesn't look like there was. Yeah, this is kind of sitting under the we don't know what went wrong. Hey, Mr. Stamps. Yeah, this is going to be a we don't know what went wrong one. But definitely, it's out of commission, for sure. Yeah, nothing I can do about that one. Which is sad, because I can try put this on the hot plate and take this off to save it. It is genuinely worth me to do that, potentially. So, I'll have a think about it. Maybe I'll just put it into the parts bin, because I don't really know what else might have got taken out. Oh well. That's a shame. Was it the 5-volt pin? Good question. I don't know. I think it might be. I don't have my schematics handy right now. But I think it probably was. Anyway, to the parts bin. Well, I guess I'll move that adapter to another one. I will say this, the screws come out pretty easy now because the thread's been cut through. But yeah, with these parts, there's probably more expense in the navigator switch and the DC jack than almost all the other parts. It's pretty close. Yeah, you win some, you lose some. I mean, obviously that's why they have QC control on manufacturing lines. I'm sure it happens more than they want as well. And it won't be because of the screws doing anything either, because that area is explicitly without any traces. Okay. I'll just get this built first before I go back to anything. Okay. If you have an AVR, can't you simulate? Oh, look, really, with the cost of the AVRs are like 70 cents or something like that. There's really no point in me. There's no point in me trying to cut that cost. What I am trying to do instead is find a better supplier for the navigation switch. If I can cut that cost down, then it essentially makes everything else, moot, as it were. Alright. Some things just aren't worth cutting the costs on. Oops. Yeah, we're getting there. Slow production days. That was a real shame. Well, let's see if there's a short across those. Oh, use firmware. It's more than it's. I can't really simplify that switch much more. There's no short on that rail. That rail's clear. So the short has been removed with the destruction of the controller. Yeah, because I went through a lot of different options before settling down on this navigator switch, because yeah, it gives you the nice up, down, and then on off. I would rather suffer the higher expense of this navigator switch than try and find another way around. Like, I could have used capacitive touch, or I did previously try 3 different buttons, which was cheaper by a long way. But in the end, I found the navigator switch was the one that was most user-friendly and didn't irritate me when I was using it. And I consider myself to be the most tolerant user of these things, so if it's irritating me, then it's probably not a good idea. Rotary encoder, but then you've got the problem, you need the on-off aspect. And rotary encoders bring their own fun and games. You're not a proper one. You're the old one. Let's see. What else have we got? Yes, 3 switches can do the same, but I tried the 3 switch option and I discarded it because I didn't like it. That's as simple as it's gonna be. I didn't like it, got rid of it. End of story. It was cheap as chips. Okay, these are older variants. They're just gonna stay in the, what do you call it? The bin. The parts, the built but never sell bin. Okay, so I've got some USB-C meters. I need to build another 6 or 7 of those. Alright then, well that does it for the night. And I will come back tomorrow. I don't know if I'll stream, but I'll have to keep working at it after I've done work on the cat house and all the other work. Get back to... damn, that's annoying. I'll see if I can recover these switches from the other ones as well. Put them all on the hot plate and lift it up. Yep. You have Apple's high usability standards. Well, like I said, it's a case of if it irritates me, then I know it's going to irritate someone else. And if it irritates someone else, that means they're going to not be happy with their purchase for reasons that I might have been able to avoid. And I don't want that. So if people are going to pay, although in terms of paying a premium, you're not really with these. Like the Amscope ones, they are $99, but they do come with a power brick. Mine is $79, so $20 cheaper, but I don't have a power brick. But that does save on postage, and yeah, most people will have something lying around potentially, or they can just find something for like, $15-20. Some models use literally one switch for everything. Oh god, I hate the one switch systems on some things where you like it comes down to timing or multi-press, and it's like, no thanks. Yeah, I just like up, down, on, off. Alright, I'm out of here. Thank you all for watching. I hope it was sufficiently irritating for you as it was for me. Alright, you all take care. Until next time, I'll catch you later.